We have covered the policies, and the next option we have got is properties. From the properties, you'll have a subscription ID, resource group name, location ID, and location name, which will give only the basic information. And the next option we have got here is logs. When you consider logs, we have got two types of logs: read only and delete log. Before we discuss, I'll give an example. Let's say you have got a critical server or critical application hosted in one of the Azure resource group. If someone accidentally deletes that, or if someone accidentally modifies the configurations for that application or for that server without any standard process or standard approvals, you'll see huge business impact out of that issue. In order to avoid such kind of accidental issues, we have got option to choose logs. We have got two types of logs, and one is read only and the other one is delete. When you enable read only log for the resource group, you cannot modify anything on that resource group. You cannot modify any resource under that resource group. You cannot delete that resource group. It means it is logged for a read only. You can just view the configuration settings, you can just view the application settings, you can just view the server settings wherever you have applied these logs. Other than this, you cannot proceed with any other activities. That is the option we have called it as a read only. We have got a delete log. It means you cannot delete any resource or any resource group when you apply this log. However, you can modify the configurations, you can update the server settings, though you have applied the log on your uh, resource group by applying this delete log. It means this is logged for deletion only. You cannot delete the resource group. Though you are the administrator, you are the owner, or you are the contributor of that resource group or of that resource, you cannot delete until unless you break the lock and then proceed with your deletion activities, right? You can add logs to your each and every resource to make sure that you securely enable all the secured options to avoid any unnecessary or accidental deletions, right? And the next option we have got is export template. It has got parameters, variables, and resources, which is a part of your resource group or resource. Whenever you deploy a resource using graphical interface, you'll have all the resource parameters, you'll have all the variables, and you'll have all the resources which can be converted by default into a template format. You can download this template and you can use it for any other resource groups. You can deploy using the same resource group by just modifying name of the resources if you want to get it done with the similar resources or similar resource groups, right? We have got parameters, scripts. You can download it and you can use it for future references, and you can customize all these templates. And the next option we have here is cost management. In this cost management, it will give you the basic analysis of your utilization. So it will also recommend you to follow the best practices in terms of utilization. So here you can see that the actual cost is showing us 30.59 INR, and you can see what service is consuming on this resource group heavily. So I can see only a backup solution which I've got only one resource on that specific resource group is consuming a lot, right? We have got cost alerts which is still in preview state. It means whenever there is a limit, let's say if the cost of your resource group or cost of your resources which are under resource group is crossing above $50,000 or above $1 lakh, then you need to get an alert. You can all get alerts by using this option, and you can click on this add alerts, and you have to provide your email ID and month, billing month period, the creation date and expiry date of your specific budget. If it crosses beyond this limit, then you'll get an alert, right? In the next option, you'll see all those alerts configuration. Let's say I'll make it as demo bill, and the creation date, let's make it as August 5th 16th, or I'll make it as, okay, August 2 and then August 15th 2020 and then 2022. So the amount of it, the threshold value, I'll give it as 5,000, and now the actual monthly cost is around 730. Let me click on next, and here you can see you need to define alert conditions. If it crosses 90% of the budget and there are no action groups, if it crosses 90% of my budget, which is the actual budget is 5,000, and if it is 90%, then it comes around 4,500. If it is crossing beyond 90%, then I should receive an email. So to receive an email, you have got action groups. So since we don't have any action groups, we cannot proceed further. You need to define action groups. It means action groups are nothing but the teams or a group of a department, or a department who can look for who is looking for this specific action. So you can define action groups in such a way like this. An action group name, let's say demo action group, and next notifications. I don't have anything. Let's go for email. We have got SMS, push, voice and all, so I don't want to provide anything apart from email. I'll make it as email notification. I'll check this option and I'll proceed with my email ID. Right, and I'm not selecting any option. If you want to go for SMS, carrier charges may apply, and you can see SMS updates as well. And if you have any applications which are hosted in Azure or outside of Azure, you can get that push notifications as well. And if you want to get a voice call, as of now we have got a country code of 1, which means only for US customers they'll be able to get the calls from this voice option, so I'm not going to create any action groups. We'll see about these action groups in a monitoring session which we have got here, right? So you can enable alerts for your budgets if it is crossing the limit. If it is crossing the threshold value, you can proceed with your email alerts. We have got budgets here. I mean, you don't have any budget since it is MSDN subscription. I don't have anything. If you want to add any evaluations or any budget requirements, you can proceed with this add, and you can add just like we did on this cost alerts. You can just set a threshold value. Okay, for the enterprise level agreements or for pay-as-you-go models, you'll see different options. So it all depends on your subscription model, how we are going to look for your analysis. Budget recommendations, we've got advisor recommendations. So this is the very good option to make sure that you follow Azure recommended best practices. It means for you to choose the right recommendations. Let's say if you have got a standalone server and which is critical for your business, and you don't know how to create, but you have just deployed a single server to meet your business requirement. However, Azure will recommend you to configure the server in high availability, right? But it will give only recommendation. It all depends on you whether to take a decision to consider that recommendation or not. Similarly, we have got security recommendations, we have got performance recommendations, we have got cost recommendations. Since I don't have any resources for longer period on this resource group, I'm not getting any recommendations, and here it is showing that you're following all of our cost recommendations for the selected subscription. So which is why I'm not seeing anything here in this window. If we consider the actual resource groups where it has got number of resources, it will give you security recommendations. Let's say if endpoint is not enabled for any of the application server, it will recommend you to enable endpoint. It means to securely configure your network, and it will ask you to enable antivirus. But the risk is yours and the requirement is yours. It all depends on your requirement. Though it recommends, it's not mandatory to implement, but it's worth implementing those solutions to make sure you follow the best practices to avoid any business impact for your solutions. We have also got performance recommendations. If you want to keep your servers or keep your applications availability for all the users without any issues, then we have got performance recommendations, and also the cost recommendations. Azure itself will give you the cost recommendations. If you are over utilizing the resources which are not required for your business, you can proceed with your cost recommendations, and you can customize, or you can scale down, or you can scale up, or you can add additional resources, or you can reduce, whatnot. It all depends on your business requirements. You can proceed with your cost recommendations. It will give you the tips and tricks. It will give you high availability recommendations, security recommendations, performance recommendations, and cost recommendations, which are very crucial for any business. Let's say if you have missed any design decision to consider all these recommendations, you can still deploy your resources based on your design, and then come back to recommendations, analyze, assess, and then proceed for your Azure recommendations. And in our next video, we will see about monitoring and also about support and troubleshooting. We have got various kinds of support models. We have got various kinds of in our upcoming videos. Thanks for watching this.